Normal programming will not be seen at this time, so we can bring you the following special.
This is Pacific Fishermen Shipyard in Ballard, home port to many of the boats in the Bering Sea crab fishing fleet. Hello everyone, I'm Como 4's Mike Ferrari. The Hansen family of Seattle has been fishing for crab on the deadly Bering Sea for decades on their boat, the Northwestern. The Hansen brothers are the stars of the TV show Deadliest Catch, but that hasn't changed them one bit. Sig, Edgar, and Norman are still fishermen at heart, and they've taken their newfound popularity, combined it with the deadly job, and turned it into their luckiest catch. Sig Hansen was born in Seattle in April of 1966. Along with younger brothers Norman and Edgar, he learned to fish under the watchful eye of their father, Norwegian-born Sverre Hansen. He taught his boys how to survive out on the Bering Sea, pushing them to their physical and mental limits while fishing for crab and salmon.
We're fourth-generation fishermen. That's all the conversations were about. And like in the Ballard community here, you know, it's Norwegian. Everyone was fishermen.
In 1977, Sverre's boat, the Foremost, sank. In that same year, the Northwestern was built. It was a proud day for the Hansens when the family boat was christened in Ballard. For 31 years, the Northwestern has fished for crab on the frigid Bering Sea.
Payoff is catching crab. I mean, that's what we're up there for. You know, that's why we sacrifice. Guys sacrifice lives, families, children, women, you name it. Places to live, just to go up there and fish. You know, for the love of it.
Despite Sverre's death in 2001, the family fishing business kept thriving. Year after year, Sig and his brothers fished for king crab in the desolate cold of the North Pacific, and nobody noticed. In the fall of 2004, the Hansen brothers agreed to allow cameras from a show Discovery Channel was producing onto their boat for a crab season. The show would be called Deadliest Catch. Fishing has taken Sig Hansen all over the world, from these docks to the Aleutian Islands to Norway. But Ballard is always home port for the Hansens, and while this community continues to constantly change, Sig Hansen points out that some things remain the same. Well, Sig, Ballard certainly has changed over the years since you grew up. This is not the same place you remember growing up.
Oh, it's absolutely, it's not. It's, I mean, years ago it was more of an industrial center. You know, you had all the shipyards and metalworks and all kinds of more industrial facilities around here. Now it's all gone to condos, and I mean, heck, you can't even find parking anymore. I gotta admit, there's a lot of life on the weekends. A lot of people walking around, so that's kind of neat, but it's a whole different generation. You don't see the crusty old fishermen as much as you used to, and that bothers me a little. You know, a lot of these places, for me, it's not just memories for me, but for generation before me and what they represented, and it's a place that everybody congregated, you know.
Let's go check out some of these spots that are still here, holding on to history. All right, well, Sig, you said this place here, Ballard Smoke Shop, it's been here forever.
Oh yeah, as long as I can remember.
All right, let's check it out. Well, see, this is a place that guys would come look for work?
Well, back in the day, this was the hub of Ballard. So, you know, my old man, a lot of the owners of these crab boats would hang out, and if you wanted a job, this was the place to be.
It's also a place to come socialize, and you guys go out and work all day, come here and talk about fishing, right?
Talk about fishing and other things.
And this is a place that many people don't know about, right?
It's one of those things that's been a nice little secret for a while, and a lot of good times.
Do you remember this guy when he was a kid?
Yeah, when he was that big.
That big? And now he's a TV star.
He's a little bit bigger now.
Yeah. What do you think of the Hollywood deal now?
I don't know. I don't keep track of that stuff.
You don't watch the show?
Well, I should have watched the show, but I've been up there for 46 years.
So does growing up around this stuff, around boats and docks, do you get kind of an edge that makes it easier to go be a Bering Sea crab fisherman?
I think you do, especially as a kid, because you're not so refined. And, you know, when we were kids, we didn't care about nothing. I mean, You just did it.
Right.
Yeah. Nobody said no, and if they did, we didn't care anyway. This is Ballard Oil, so this is where the boats would take their fuel before we head back up north.
What the hell do you want? They say, good to see you. They let you out, huh? He's been coming ever since his daddy brought him down in diapers, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
What's it like to see a guy like this now growing up, running the business and doing what he does? Kind of weird?
No different than it's been for, what, 30, I won't say how many years. We don't want to tell anybody how you really are.
Forever and a day, yeah. This is sacred ground, man.
There's more fish caught in this room than there ever was in the ocean.
When you took over for Dad, and he was still alive, and you were talking to him or sending him back what you were doing and where you were catching stuff, did you have to start lying to him? Because is this where he came and started telling everybody what you were doing and giving information away?
All the owners would hang out here, so he would tell his buddies, and then they would tell their captains. They would come out and chase for you, or vice versa.
Right.
So yeah, this was information central. Yeah.
Well, Sig Fishermen's Terminal, this is kind of a sentimental spot for you because the memorial's here and your dad's name's on it.
A lot of guys have come and gone, and they've been able to remember them through the memorial. There's a lot of history here, and there's a lot of people that have lost their loved ones. It's got great sentimental value for a lot of families in Seattle. And there are a lot of guys that friends that I've known that are gone. Makes you think about how good you have it, and fortunate and lucky you are to still be around. They've got a plaque for my old man. He's right here, in memory of Captain Sig Hansen. And a lot of these, guys weren't lost at sea, but they're tributes for them being a part of the commercial fishing industries for so long, and that's nice to see as well. Here I see legacies. You know, when I look at the names, I just see a lot of legacies left behind.
There are things you do and things you don't. There are things that happen and things that won't. Good luck, good health, good crab, and good friends. Fishermen's superstitions.
Well, as far as biting the head off a herring before a crab season, it's good luck. It's comes from a few different fisheries, mostly the herring fishery, but we've kind of adopted it here, and it's always been done. It's one of those things where it's great if you remember to do it. Just don't forget to bite the head off of a herring, because we've proven that can be fatal to your season as well. A lot of times we'll set the hook on fire for our last pot of the season, and that just kind of came over the years. I think the guys knew that it was a superstitious deal to catch that last hook, and I think Egger started just turning the thing on fire, and we just went with it. And it's, every boat's different, but it's unique to ours.
Fishermen's superstitions.
You're looking at the brand new deck of the Northwestern, and the guys have been working on the boat all summer long. Edgar Hansen. Edgar, you put a lot of work into this boat this year.
A lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of sweat, a lot of blood, a lot of aches and pains.
What did you have done?
We went into dry dock when we first came down, found some shafting issues. So we had our whole shaft replaced, we had all new bearings put in, and the deck was 31 years old, so we had it completely restored, ripped up, and it's all brand new. Paint job, you name it, little odds and ends, had the engines fixed as usual. So it's all about maintaining, making sure we don't break down while we're up there.
Norman Hansen worked all summer in the Northwestern too. Despite being on a reality TV show, he doesn't like TV cameras much. He had nothing to say. This was the first time this much work has been done in like 30 years,
This was pretty major, yeah. I mean, we spent well over $750,000.
I think bananas are a superstition on just about every boat in the fleet. It's just one of those things where it's been passed down generation to generation. I'm not too concerned about the banana deal, but we don't like to see them on here. I think I've seen them once, and we tossed them. So you don't take any chances when it comes to bananas and superstitions. Another superstition is if you open up, a can of strawberries or any kind of food item upside down, and if that's sitting on that galley table upside down, definite no-no on the Northwestern. You just don't do it. Why would you have a horseshoe on a boat? I mean, basically, it's cowboy paraphernalia. It's something that over the years, it's not accepted as a good luck charm on a crab boat.
So that's one thing where you try to shy away from. You don't want to see horseshoes hanging in a boat. Suitcases on this boat is a definite no-no. That is like voodoo #1 for me, always has been. I think that just came because as a kid, you know, my grandfather kind of embedded that into my head. And, you know, you're a sailor. You have a sea bag. You don't bring a suitcase on a boat. Save it for an airplane.
Fisherman superstitions.
The Make-A-Wish Foundation contacted us, and Gary had a wish to go to Alaska, fish on the Northwestern. We had to do the next best thing, and that was to get him out with us for Seafair, and that was quite a day.
It was pretty cool.
Hey, dude! Up! Bring it up! Yeah!
Gary Yost loves the TV show Deadliest Catch.
Deadliest Catch pose, okay?
His Make-A-Wish dream came true when he was an honorary captain of the Northwestern today.
Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
But not before some pirates tried to take over command of the boat.
Come on now!
With the Seafair pirates aboard,
Oh, yeah.
along with friends and family, it was time for Gary to get to work under the watchful eye of Captain Sig Hansen.
Is there lots of room on that side, Todd?
They're the best.
Heads up!
My wish was to come here on the boat, so I get to come on the boat today, drop a few pots, and then go pick them up.
My wish is to get off this thing. I don't see who would wish to be on here.
Sometimes the tide will push you or the wind will push you.
First lesson, getting through the Ballard locks, where Gary was given quite the send-off.
I'm the captain today.
Once out in the Sound, it didn't take long for Gary to take over Sig's seat.
Wake me up in about an hour.
I'll do my best.
Before he could even drop a crab pot, Gary had to deal with the authorities.
Uh-oh.
What did I do?
Uh-oh. I don't know what you did, man. You are I am not the captain today, so. Oh, man. This is not good.
Well, I hear you're crapping out here and you don't got a license.
He does.
He does.
Then it was time to go fishing.
Oh, yeah. Not credit.
Watching my son's face light up when he got to see the crew member and be out on the boat and do the things when, you know, knowing about not knowing that the Fish and Wildlife people are going to show up and bust him. It was just great.
Awesome.
It just feels good to have him be himself, look like himself, act like himself, and get to do the things he loves to do.
After a short cruise through Elliott Bay and a flyby from the Blue Angels, it was time to pull up the pots. After a few pots were pulled up empty, Gary scored in the last pot of the day.
He's a pro. He's hired. He's better than half the guys I got.
Beginning to end, you can say this was a successful trip.
This is the best day of my life because, one, I get to spend the entire day with the Northwestern's crew. 2, I got to set and drop pots. 3, I got to drive the boat. And 4, I had entirely too much fun.
Northwestern, yeah! Yeah!
Well, I mean, that's a feeling like no other right there. So, no, we had a great day. For a kid to say that that's the best thing he's ever done is quite a feeling, and I'm proud of it.
So how was your day with us, buddy?
Awesome.
Well, Sig, I remember we were down in Portland and some advertising executives asked you, what's the coolest thing that has happened to you since you've been involved with the Deadliest Catch and all the popularity that comes with it? And you said making Gary's wish come true was it.
Well, yeah, and I think that still stands because not only did we give him what he wanted, and we got the reward back as far as, you know, just seeing it. And it just felt so good to not just myself, but my crew and everybody that helped out. And that's something that we'll never forget.